Hello, guys. This is Denise Cooper, and we are listening to Bernice L. McFadden on YouTube. Yes. Actually, I'm just going to test it out for you guys, and hopefully you join me. Let me pause Miss McFadden. She is wonderful. Actually, last week we talked about Troy Johnson and African American Literary Book Club, and it is an amazing website. I hope you guys got a chance to check it out. I love it. Like I said, I'll be using it all next year during the blackout, where I read nothing but African American books for the whole year of 2018. African American books 100% next year. 2018. It's called the Blackout in Books. Hashtag book blackout. Hashtag read so lit. Thanks, Dee Dee. She came up with a wonderful hashtag for next year, and it is called, actually, the hashtag that she came up with that I was talking about is called Booktube Black. Hashtag Booktube Black. Hashtag read so lit. Dee Dee's wonderful hashtags, and we will be using those next year, and I'll be using them all year. And she has one for Read So Lit 365. So that's what I'll be doing next year. We're going to be talking about Bernice L. McFadden, all her books. We've actually talked about her once before, but I asked you guys to come up with about or basically just some topics that we can actually talk about. And I'm going to take this off, and sorry for the glare. We're going to talk about Bernice McFadden books. The ones that I've read, the ones that I've reviewed, I'll actually put a link to. I'm actually learning how to put the links before we go live here. So I did put a link to KT's channel, which is K's Too Cute on Twitter, and also a link to Miss McFadden's website as well. So that should already be seen right now, instead of me waiting a whole hour for this to be done and then snatching everybody's information and then putting it on the description box. So I'm trying to get ahead. So aren't you proud of me? Progress, progress. How you doing, Kia Dene? Again, you guys, this is Denise Cooper, and this is Booktube Live, and we are going to obviously get calls during the live session because that's just what happens sometimes. And I've got some videos up that I've been watching on Miss Bernice McFadden, and one of them that I really truly love is Well Read Black Girl. And I hope you can hear me because I turned down the sound so it wouldn't get that terrible back noise and echo that we got last time when me and Benny were testing out the audio, and I haven't tested out anything. I'm just kind of running because I kind of want to welcome you to what we're going to be doing tonight. And again, it's all about characters, conquest, and climaxes. That is an amazing suggestion from K2 Cute, and she's got a whole list. She's actually got 3, and so for the next 3 weeks we're going to do her 3 suggestions. And if you want to know what those are, we'll talk about that tonight also, and I'll read it on the Twitter. But right now I'm going to check in and see if you guys, and see if we are live actually. So yeah, and I'm looking all yellowish brown because I had to switch light bulbs. The other one was just like you could see my irises. Okay, I mean, it was bright, and now the glare, I can see that on the glasses. So we're going to just do a little check-in. 5 people are watching. Well, hello, welcome, welcome. Kia Dene, Benny, K is Too Cute, and the 8-month-old grandson, who I'm sure has nice little squishy chubby legs that she's keeping tonight. And hello, Nicole, hello, Toddy, and hello, everyone. So I'm going to check in and see who is here. Ashley! Hi, Ashley. How are you? Ashley Winbush. Hey, Denise. Glad I caught you live. And I want to know, can you hear me? Hi, KT. Hi, Kia Dene. Good evening, everyone. She says Brittany Wiggins is... Sounds good. Thank you, Brittany. Sound check. 1 2 1 2. Hi, everyone. Kay says, and hey, guys. Says Alexis Milton. Welcome back, Alexis. And so we are going to be talking about Bernice McFadden. And while I just look at these books, I wanted to show you guys, or let you listen. My lips are getting all tongue-tied. Lips don't get tongue-tied, Denise. They don't. You just need to like slow your roll. So anyway, I'm going to play Bernice McFadden. If you have not watched her live or interviews, anything, I do this all the time with Toni Morrison and Bernice McFadden, and I've watched the Well Read Black Girls interview on Bernice McFadden talking about the Book of Harlan. Oh, not that I haven't read it. It's just I love to hear her talk about the backstory of it. And I follow her channel also, and I watched her videos with her family. If you guys have not seen Bernice McFadden's YouTube channel, please go and subscribe and watch and get to know one of our favorite writers. One of the things that I love about Miss Bernice McFadden is she is so well tuned with her readers, and you can tell that she loves storytelling. I love a person that loves what they do, because it also it just kind of weaves through what you're going through at the time that you're reading it, like something that you kind of needed, and you cling on and you hold on to it a little bit tighter when you know that that person on the other side meant to tell this story with all the passion and glory and intelligence and you know, research that they could muster, and then, you know, gave it to you. And I love that. And yeah, that book is so good. As you know, and I'll link my thoughts on that. It was I had finished the book. I was sitting at my laptop, pushed play, and just talked about the book. And I was happy to get a message from her, like I always do when she comments on our channels, not just me, obviously. And I just really enjoy the back and forth that these writers are taking time to indulge with their readers. And I also wanted to ask you guys tonight, if you had one question to ask Bernice McFadden, not what made you start writing books, you know, not that same kind of thing. Because and just to give you an example of what I would like to ask her is, when we going on this girl trip, I would love to, like, have, you know how Tom Joyner always has these, you know, reunions every year. Wouldn't it be so cool if writers, African American writers or whatever, especially because I was thinking about this during the blackout. I know I played around with the thought of, and I actually commented on her Instagram page about, you know, or either on a suggestion, or I mean a comment that she had made on my one of the reviews I did on her books. I think I mentioned that wouldn't it be nice to, you know, have a girls trip with Bernice McFadden and, you know, other writers as well. Just, you know, this cool little retreat. You just go for like 4 or 5 days to the Bahamas or somewhere, and just have like a retreat, a writers and readers retreat, anything. So I would like to ask her, would she even be interested in that, and who would sponsor that trip? Her publishing company. No, but I would I would pay my own way. I'm just saying, you know, they could pay for her and all her amenities, and we would just bring ourselves. And I want my book signed. That's basically what I'm trying to get at, and to get to know the readers. Just kind of like here on Booktube, we've created this wonderful little community, and it would be nice to meet up with you guys, you know, at least once a year, or once every 3 years, or something to connect, other than just me talking to this camera that I know you guys are on the other side, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of Miss Bernice McFadden. And this, I mentioned Troy because this is on Troy Johnson's YouTube page, and so if you are not following his channel, please do. And he is the creator of AALBC. So this is Miss Bernice McFadden, and I hope you guys can hear it. I'm going to turn her up a little bit. I did turn down my speaker at the suggestion of Nicole, who definitely knows what was going on. And so I took everybody on this journey with me, and every time I received a rejection letter, I put it up. I didn't put who the letter was from, but I wanted people to understand how the business works. I hope you can hear. And I'm going to check in with you guys and let me know. January 2009, I told myself, just as I did January 1999 when I was shopping sugar, which is my first book, I said, well, you know what, if I don't find a publisher to take this on, KT, self-published. Can you hear her? I had sent a query to Johnny Temple, who's the founder of Akashic Books, small boutique publishing house. And I didn't hear back from him. Middle of July, late July, during the Harlem Book Fair, I was out walking around, and I saw this young, slim white man standing behind a table with books, and he had Awesome. Thank you, Kay.
And he said, oh, yeah, she's going to be speaking at 1 o'clock. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to be speaking at 1:30, so I'm not going to be able to attend. He said, oh, are you a writer? And I said, yes. He goes, well, who are you? I said, Bernice McFadden. He goes, oh, I'm Tony Temple. And we're like, oh, okay. So he said, now, I want you to know that, you know, we have the manuscript. I haven't read it, and only one person has, and that person loved it. But we all have to love it. So I don't want to give you any false hope. And I was like, you cannot give me any false hope. Not after what I've been through. Either you're going to get, you're going to pick it up, or you're not going to pick it up.
Exactly.
So this is the whole mystical, magical part of this. I had to go to Ohio for an event. And I woke
Now I'm going to leave you right there in suspense, because what she does, and literally this video is only 3 minutes and 54 seconds long on Troy Johnson's YouTube channel, and it's just labeled under his name, Troy Johnson, and it was published on May the 3rd, 2010, and it's saying that she's talking about the book Glorious and the many rejections that she got, and then meeting up with this publisher who, you know, I think is possibly interested, but you guys will find out when you go watch the video, because I just really want you to watch some of her videos if you have not already. If you are not in the chat room, as most of us know who she is, if you've never heard of Bernice L. McFadden, or you've seen the Book of Harlan, or you've seen Sugar and This Bitter Earth and so forth and so on, and you have them on your shelves and you have not read them, she's the type of author, when you do read her and it's been sitting on your shelf, you're going like, what was I doing? Why am I hoarding my books? Why am I not getting to it? Yeah, like me. Like, I have not read this book. This is Gathering of Waters, and you guys know, if you watch this channel, I book hauled this I think last year. So got some glare, but this is just a pretty cover. It's just nice and plain and simple. And Gathering of Waters by Bernice L. McFadden. And I've seen a different cover of one of her books one day, and I was like, some of her books are just so beautiful, like and rereadable, that I wouldn't mind having it in a different cover. As you guys know, that happens. I know I've done that with Toni Morrison. I have 2 versions of Sula. One is just the plain writing with Sula on it, and then the other is that throwback with that beautiful cover, and that's the one I remember my mother having. So I love this cover. I say all that to say how much I really like this cover and how simplistic it is, and it's very artistic to me. There's something, whoever did this, I love it, and I know it looks kind of bland maybe to some people, but I love this. And when I took that library goo off of there, I loved it even more. So I will be reading the synopsis on that, and I also linked Kay's review. I think I just said that, but I did link Kay's review on one of her books, and she was so happy to get home and read this book. And when I was watching your video, Kay, I was like, she's gonna be like, oh, Denise, you done what? I did a throwback. It's like Throwback Thursday on your video. You got different hair. I was like, look at Kay. So anyway, but I really enjoyed her video, so I want you guys to check it out as well. Hello, Paul Bright. Hello, Columbus. Hello, Dawn. Hello, everyone that is watching or who will be watching later. Hello, Stephen Massey. My twin. I know that author. Yes. And she's wonderful. She's always talking to us. And just to read what some people have said, it says, hello, everyone. This is Lycan Books. Hi there. How are you? I love your interviews and your reviews. I came in at a good time. Love Bernice McFadden. Yes. And Kay says, I love that she interacts with her fans online. Yeah, and I was just watching how she was retweeting what we were talking about the other day, or one of our tweets, and she retweeted that. And she's just always retweeting, and she's always commenting on our videos, and she's very interactive with us on Instagram. I think Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading shares a birthday with her, and you know, when Dee Dee came to the U.S., coming back home to Louisiana, Bernice McFadden went to go meet Dee Dee. How awesome is that? So that's very interactive. That's somebody that has not just like one book and is trying to get her name out there. This woman has several books, and one of my favorites all time is Sugar, which is actually the first one that I ever read by Bernice McFadden with my book club in Lakeland, Florida. When I had a book club in Lakeland, Florida, I loved it. We all loved that book. And then we read This Bitter Earth, and then, you know, years later I hooked up again, and on my phone I have Camilla's Roses. I'm milking it. It's really nice. I have Loving Donovan, and I cannot find that book to save my life. Somebody done came up in my house. Stevie, you got my book? Stevie, did you get my book off the shelf? No, I'm just joking. But seriously, I cannot find my book, and I'm sure it's around here somewhere. I know Tasha has read several of her books, and when Tasha was here, she told me, Mommy, read Nowhere Is a Place. She was reading the physical book, her copy, and then I got it from the library on audio because I was painting at the time. So I was listening. As you guys know, I'm still listening to a lot of audio. I love Nowhere Is a Place, and I think that's the review that I linked below. So check out Kay's excitement about Nowhere Is a Place. And what I wanted to talk about, because the title of this show, and this is our creative director for the evening for the next 3 weeks, is Kay, because she came up with these wonderful titles and also the great subject matter for discussion for the next 3 weeks. And so tonight, as you see the title, I hope it shows up because I did put it on there. I'm learning how to actually do that. But it's called Characters, Conquest, and I don't have my glasses on, and Climaxes. So, and it's the work of Bernice L. McFadden. So as you guys know, when we were talking about phenomenal women, I went to her website. And on her website, you will get a list of all her books and also her pseudonym, her romance novels. And when I mentioned about something like that on Instagram, she said that I need to go ahead and get into those books. So Miss Bernice McFadden, I will definitely do that. And, you know, because a lot of us stray away from the romance, but if Bernice McFadden, writer of Sugar, The Bitter Earth, The Book of Harlan, Nowhere Is a Place, Camilla's Roses, things that I have read and loved, and why wouldn't I read a romance novel written by her? And so again, if you were watching that particular live, we talked about her being one of my phenomenal women suggestions, and I'm on her website right now. And so I'm going to read over the books, but I also wanted to give you her name again for the romance books that she wrote. Her name is Geneva Holiday. And so if you go to BerniceMcFadden.com, you're going to see a list of her books and also the books that she wrote under that name. And I can't wait. I'm serious. I'm going to read them because, you know, Marlon James had me in some type of way, and I'm still 400 some pages deep in that book. And I picked up a book that I have not finished, and don't be looking at my arms. I'm just trying to hide some stuff. Anyway, remember I was reading this, and let me go back so I can see what you guys are seeing. I wanted to kind of catch you up on what I am reading currently at this time. I'm listening to Zadie Smith's Swing Time. I'm still listening to The Philosophers, which I am in love with, and I need to just go in and finish it. I only have like 2 CDs left of The Philosophers, and Zadie Smith, I'm on like the 4th CD already, and I just started it the other day, and it's really good. But this is La Bâtarde by Violet Leduc, and the reason why I'm catching you up is because, again, the Marlon James, okay? Sometimes you just have to, and I'm so glad I picked up that book again because it's so beautiful, and her writing style, it's very old, but it's also, love is never old. Like, it is so beautifully written, and she's just so passionate and wildly just talking about characters. I'm so glad I picked it up, and sometimes you need to do that. And so I say all of that and get you caught up with what I'm reading and listening to, and this is Zadie Smith, Swing Time. Oh my gosh, you guys. I know I saw Carmel on Instagram, and he was talking about how good this book was, and I did listen to his or watch his review on Swing Time by Zadie Smith. So now I want to know what you guys think about character study driven books. And out of all of the Bernice McFadden books that you may have read already, which one was like your favorite standout character? For me, if this book would have never come out, the Book of Harlan, I would have said Sugar Lacey and as my favorite. And the thing is, Sugar Lacey is still one of my absolute favorites. And why is because when you're reading that book, or at least when I was reading that book, knowing that I was reading it with a group of women that I cared for, that I saw all the time, we worked together, we went to Jamaica together. It's just, I don't know, it was like so homespun, thick, loving, tragic, just not tragic in the way that, you know, some people, when you say tragic and mention African American author, like, oh, I can't handle that. Calm down. It's not that bad. It's not bad at all. And she's just one of my favorites. Like Sugar is, it's so, I think you should read it if you haven't. That's where I started, and I am going to reread that book. That's what I'm talking about with her. Her characters are strong. They're well thought out. They're well cared for. Like sometimes when I'm reading, I am a little judgmental and I have an editing hat on, but I'm not an editor. I'm a reader. And I think that comes with so many years of reading. You actually start going, this is not well put together. This is not well thought out. Oh, I wish they would have researched this a little bit more. I wish this, I wish that. I don't get this. Why did they put this there? Like in the I did a review on Behold the Dreamers, and I really liked that book, but I kept talking to the book like, why do you keep saving these people? Why do you keep saving them? Just let them, you know, be poor or whatever. Let them struggle and stop giving them a handout. And so I talked about that, and you know, if you're interested in that, I did a review on that before Oprah got to it and you know, told the whole world to read it. We on Booktube, we were reading that book and we love it. So, but that's what I'm talking about. When you have a strong character, you do talk back to the book. And sometimes a strong character, a strong silent character, could not be the main protagonist. As we all know, the strong character could be the city. It could be the feel, the music, and how it sings. When I listened to Nowhere is a Place, I was like, because it's a story within a story, which is like one of my favorite types of books ever. And so when I listened to that, I'm sure I listened to that book more than once because I kept listening and re-listening to certain CDs, and I would have it on replay. So when it got to the end, it would rewind and go right back over. And I didn't go and snatch it out. I said, I want to hear that again, you know, and I really love the way the narrator told the story, but the story still has to be there so that the narrator can have something to work with. And Bernice McFadden is not going to let you down in that respect. So another one of my favorite characters is Harlan. And if you watch the well-read Black Girl review on YouTube with Bernice McFadden, and she talks about the book and what it could have been called, but nah, she changed the name, so I'm glad she did. No, I just think that, I mean, that's just a brilliance of a writer, just noticing those small things, and that name change definitely made a difference. And as soon as she said that, I'm thinking, ding, 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 ding. I love it. So I'm going to check in with you guys, and we're going to talk a little bit more, and I'm also going to read a little bit of Miss McFadden. So let me scroll up. How you doing, Stevie, first of all? And if you know that Arthur, you got to read her, because, you know, I'm telling you, I know you like Dean Koontz, and I know you like well thought out stuff, and she did her work here. She did it, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and I think they're making a movie out of it. I know I saw her signing some paperwork or something. Don't quote me, and I don't want to go searching all over the internet, and, you know, because this will turn into like 2 hours again, and we're not going to go there. So, Behold the Dreamers. I did the same with Behold the Dreamers. Ashley, yes. I mean, it was like, because I remember discussing it on my review of it or my talk about it, how it was in the time where America was getting bailouts, and, you know, from the government, and yet they're flying to, you know, Washington to discuss getting bailouts, and they're flying to Washington in jets. And so in Behold the Dreamers, how the employer that they work for, and then of course the wife, like Tina said, she did a bailout of her own. Yes, she did. She got that money. But there were several instances. I was thinking, like the cousin or whoever got them to the United States, that was a bailout. The employer, that was a bailout. The fact that they had money and she could actually swindle or get money or take what was rightfully hers, anything. There was always these constant bailouts, and I was like, come on, just let them be. Just, you know, let it be. And that's one of the things that I loved. I think I talked about this, but I know I talked to this about my daughter when Loving Donovan. Loving Donovan by Bernice McFadden. And I likened it to If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. Now, if you've read James Baldwin's If Beale Street Could Talk, it doesn't end fantastically. If you've read The Street by Ann Petrie, it does not end up like this, you know, this baby smooth, I'm going to rock you to the end and we're just going to make everything all cozy and warm for you, reader. It doesn't. When you read Loving Donovan, it doesn't. It may piss you off. It may leave you like, what? Why wrap it up like, where is the wrap up? Come on, Miss McFadden. But no, what I loved about the ending of Loving Donovan is that, and all her stories up to that date, up to this one that I noticed that I've read, life keeps going on. Like, you're so, like, this could be the guy next door. Like, when you finish that book, you might like walk to your car getting ready for work and then say, hello, how you doing? And it could be them. It could be so fresh in your mind that just because the book is over, that life is still going on, and it doesn't have to wrap up perfectly, because life doesn't. My day might not have wrapped up perfectly. I put a whole list of things to do today, and I checked off maybe 3, and one of them I'm doing now. So the thing is, will it be successful? I don't know. Kay put these wonderful subjects and characters and just this whole discussion that we're going to have for the next 3 weeks, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to do my homework. I got to get ready. Did she expect me to do a review on all these books? So, you know, those things go through our head, and it just doesn't wrap up perfectly in life. And that's what I respected about Loving Donovan's ending so much. And some people just can't be happy with something that doesn't, you know, go along the same grain of a perfect ending, or you know, you got the beginning, you got the middle, and there's this thing that happens and it all ties in at the end, like a TV show kind of a thing. So now, not going to get it there. So I love that about her books. Now I'm going to go to you guys and take off my glasses for a second and get something to drink. And if you have read The Book of Harlan, what were your thoughts? And if you want to talk about any other book, and I'm going to check on you guys too. And Stevie, I have a suggestion for you, because Sugar, to me, is like, yeah, you might want to start with Sugar. I absolutely love that book. And Camilla's Roses, again, I have that on my phone, and it's harder now. I can't read it on my phone because, look, you guys, my phone is still broke. So let me see if you can actually see it. You see that tape? Yep, you can see it. Ghetto-fied. Anyway, it's usually closed like this, and when it dropped, and I've dropped this phone several times, nothing happens. Anyway, I was playing with my phone, and it dropped just like that, shattered. And so I can't read my books. It's, yeah, little pieces of glass and so forth and so on. But anyway, while I read you guys, we're gonna listen to Miss Bernice McFadden. Might as well go ahead and push play. It's only a few moments, and I'll read and catch up with you guys. This is Booktube Live with Denise D. Cooper, Art Books Live. Yes, the other channel is now called Art Books Live. Bernice.
Particular morning in August, with this feeling that I had to go visit Nella Larson's grave. She's buried right.
Nella Larson's grave.
I was at Cypress Hill Cemetery, which is about 10 minutes drive. I called my girlfriend across the street. I said, I need to go and visit this grave. I have to catch a plane at noon. I need you to come with me because it's going to take a minute. So we jumped in the car, went to the cemetery, drove around for about 20 minutes trying to find it. Finally found the grave. I went up there. It's on this beautiful little hill underneath the tree. I cleaned it off. I sent my shells down. I thanked her for everything. And I left. I went to Ohio. And when I came back, there was an email from Johnny saying,
yay. So that's basically how the story wrapped up. She, Johnny Temple, founder of Akashic Books, published her book, a book that had got rejected several times. And so everybody wanted the book, and that's what happened there. And that's the author of Glorious, and I think I'm saying it right, Akashic Books, and that was 2010, describes how Glorious was discovered and published after more than 40 rejections letters. Bernice is a terrific writer. So says Troy Johnson on his video that we just listened to. So thank you, Troy, for that. I hope we're not getting in trouble using other people's videos, but and it's not John Coltrane. You guys won't let me use that anymore, YouTube. So anyway, I'm getting caught up, and I'll be reading your comments. And so I know Kate T said that she's, I'm scared to fly, but I'd find a way to get there. Exactly. You gotta fly. Flying is like, it's like a natural high. It's like we should be up in the air. It's just beautiful. And Stevie is laughing. He said, no, I love my life too much to take any of your books. I know that's right. No, I'm just joking. I know you wouldn't take my books. Just like I wouldn't take any of your dance shoes and try to, you know, dance. And Geneva, let's see here. Katie says Geneva Holiday is the pen name. Exactly. And that's on her website, right? So after she lists the books under her own name, Bernice L. McFadden, the next page, so if you scroll all the way down on that, her webpage, you scroll all the way down, it's on page 2, and you will see Geneva Holiday's books. So it's really cool. And KT says, I liked Sugar, but I loved Pearl too. I love them as a unit. Yes. And what I loved about, and I don't know, I know when I was reading something, I think it was Gathering of Waters, just, I was going to read the synopsis, and Toni Morrison is on here. And when I read Sugar, okay, let me just tell you, when I read Toni Morrison books, like I would go to the park, you know, you have a picnic, read out loud to significant other or whatever. It's just one of those feelings where it's just a beautiful sunny day and you want to go back and just read a beautiful piece of literature. And tragic maybe, haunting maybe, beautiful definitely, genius, yes. And so Sugar kind of put me in that same boat, as did The Darker Child by Dolores Phillips. Rest in peace to her. And so Sugar is right up there to me with those other books. Like I told Miss McFadden, she's like one of my top shelf writers now. You know, like my top shelf is Alice and Tony and James and Richard and so forth and so on, Langston and Bernice McFadden. And it was after reading about 3 or 4 of her books. And so, yeah, and the Book of Harlan, I don't care if that was the first and only book she ever wrote, top shelf, honey. I love that book. And, basically what I was saying about the characters, and we're talking about characters. So, what other characters do I love for Bernice McFadden? I really did like Donovan, and the lady, I can't remember her name in Loving Donovan, the female character, but I really liked her, and she represented so much of that expectancy that women have in a man or in a relationship, where you want it to be this kind of a thing, and it just doesn't happen. And if she, like Bernice gave us, and I don't want to say a lot because I hate to give spoilers away for anybody that has not read Loving Donovan. And when I did a video, it was during that time where my daughter was like, I can't read any books about, you know, rape culture, and we were talking about rape culture in books. And at the time we read Waiting and by Hajin, and she gave me the book. Or actually, I have the book, and she suggested the book, but she couldn't get through it. And we talked about that one on this channel, about the Japanese camp. Anyway, and a lot of rape was going on in there. And so when I read Loving Donovan, Tasha was like, I just can't right now. And so when you read that book and you read this, this dynamic between these two people, and the writer is kind of, to me, this is what I got from it. The writer is letting me in on the secret about one of the characters, but hiding it from this other character. So you kind of, it makes the reader want to go, tell her, tell her, let her know, let her in on this, you know. And that I had this little fight, like, and I thought, dang you, Bernice McFadden, that was good for you to do that. And I really liked that part of about the book, because I felt like I was in there in some way. Like the writer didn't leave her storytelling abilities out. Like, I'm not going to just make this all lush and beautiful, and I'm also going to draw in the reader, and this is where I'm going to put you, and I'm going to make you guess or make you mad or whatever. And I like that about a book, because sometimes if a book is too simple, I mean, it's just a nice, good, refreshing read, that's fine too, because there's always a time and moment for those types of books. But her books are short. They're not 500 and 600 pages long, like Gathering of Waters. When I was looking at this today, I haven't read this one, remember? So I'm looking at the page count because it's a very small book, and it goes to page 252. And as you guys know, when I was doing my Sunday shorts, I was reading a book in a day under 250 pages. And Sunday is a really good lazy day for me to do that after I, gone to my meeting, come home, and I just get out of my clothes and get in the bed with a book and just, and then read maybe 50 pages, get up, do something else, get some lunch, whatever, come back, get right back into my book, do something else, get right back into my book. And this is what I think I'm got to get back to do the Sunday shorts. I think this would be a perfect one. So, yes. And then I also have, and like I said, I don't know where my Loving Donovan is, Stevie. So anyway, The Warmest December. I haven't read this one. This is a book I took a picture of, and this is Miss McFadden. Yeah, I'm trying to mirror her hair tonight. It looks like, huh? Look at that. Look at that beautiful lady. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see it? Yes, you can see it. I love it. That's gorgeous. And she's cut off her hair, and she's, I don't know, I just think Bernice McFadden is the bee's knees. I just think she's a very well in tune with who she is type of lady that we can all learn a lot from. And that's just what makes me think, oh, she's like the girl next door who writes fantastic stories. And I'm going to read you guys' comments. And so I read Kay. Ashley says, I did the same with Behold the Dreamers. Okay, I now read that. We talked about Behold the Dreamers. Ashley, I'm telling you. And Kay says, I was baffled by the end of Loving Donovan at first, but then I realized what you just said. Life goes on. Says Kay, yes. And because when I remember sitting there on the couch going, I got to record a video like right now about this. And me and my daughter, I think, talked about it before I actually recorded the video. So, Brittany Wiggins says they have real endings, though. Exactly, and I appreciate that. And that's what I love about it, because to me, like, her books still, these people are people, and she's smart enough to know that this is not how your day doesn't wrap up perfectly. Your job may end. Things happen in life, and if you tie up every ending to be so perfect, then we'd all be living in that Alice in Wonderland type of atmosphere that we kind of grew up with, and maybe that's why we expect things to go certain ways in our relationships. And I remember reading an article a long time ago. I don't remember who the young lady was, and actually she was an actress, I believe, and she was like, I'm not going to raise my daughter on these fairy tales. And I'm thinking, I wasn't raised on that stuff either. I think we got a real good dose of reality when we were young, and everything is not fairy tale. I'm sitting up here trying to get on Instagram, but I really want to just turn down the ringer. That's what I wanted to do, and so I did that. So I'm going to read the rest of Brittany's comment. She says that they have real endings, though, and I appreciate that. She honors the intelligence of her readers. She doesn't spoon-feed us fantasy and fairy tales. She allows us to bask in the realness of our lives. That should be a perfect blurb on a book. I think, yeah, you might want to write some blurbs. Are you a writer, Brittany? I love that. And KT says, excuse me, you guys, I can't wait to see what topics other people come up with. I can't even imagine how far this can go. I mean, what I love about your topic, and sorry, you guys, I've been talking all day. I actually did some overtime today. I actually went in, because, we help in Houston. That is not alcoholic. This is apple cider. Kind of made me nostalgic. And Stevie, if you're still here, remember when we used to go to this field trips to go to the apple cider farms? Ching! I had a moment. I was in Walmart and I was like, oh my God, that takes me back to home where apples were on trees, where we went to the apple cider farm. and I love that. So tonight I'll be reading something and sipping on some apple cider. And what was I going to do? I was going somewhere. Oh, we're talking about the title, characters. Okay, and I just kind of wanted to read this here. Character. And also, actually, I think I did it here. That way you guys can hear it. This is live. What is a character study for a novel? And that's what I wanted to read. What is a character study for a novel? Awesome. Yep. Okay. I just wanted to see if they're on the same page because something was kind of weird. Anyway, how do I write a character analysis? And so they have all this stuff in here. And so when Kay brought up this subject, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I love a good character study. And I know Camille had a video on Eileen, and I bought that because he said it's a good character study book, and I like that. And those books usually don't wrap up really well. So if you are new to my channel, or if you some of the people that I've been speaking to that didn't know anything about Booktube, I am not the Booktube representative. I'm not that huge at all, or even minute. This is our little community in this part of the world, and so there are loads of different types of readers on Booktube. That's what I respect more than anything, whether it's YA, nonfiction, literary, like that art type of thing, fine art, lowbrow art, and that kind of a thing. So character studies and nonfiction being probably my favorite books to read. And I love law. As you guys know, I love reading law books. So when you pull up character studies and one of her suggestions, and it gives you all this information on how to write characters, and it just set my mind like, oh my God, Kay, I want to get back to my book. Seriously, because I'm sitting up here going, write the introduction, describe the physical appearance of the character. So the physical appearance of a character, I'm thinking Sugar, love her. I love the supporting cast and everything. The Book of Harlan, how she had these nice little on purpose perfect sentences from one to the other, which almost felt like a character in itself. Like the body of work was like speaking to me as this one big beautiful thing. And so when you gave me this suggestion, I kept looking up each word and going, makes me want to write. So thanks. Now I got another thing I need to do. Anyway, so, and then I was reading about, let me just look it up because I thought I saved it, but maybe I didn't. Okay, so the title again is called Character Conquest and Climax. We talked a little bit about the climax, talking about the end, but that build up before it ends. A book that comes to mind that had a really huge climax before the ending, before it was all said and done, before it was all satisfied and got out of your system. Like, what was the best climax in a Bernice L. McFadden book? So if you guys want to drop that suggestion, let me know. And I'm going to continue to read. Lycan Book says, agree with you on Loving Donovan. I read and it left me wanting more from it. Exactly. Like, I literally wanted to know. But at the same token, I was so okay with it, so cool with the fact that this is where he is, and life is going to go on. And she says, wanting to see Donovan move forward, but I think it somewhat lets the reader make its own interpretation. Exactly, says Lycan Books. And Stevie says, sorry, twin, I have my headset on, but I'm building a set for the production. Oh, I'm sorry. So excited. Stephen Massey is a phenomenal dancer, and he does great shows. And I think you're getting ready for the chocolate Nutcracker. Is that what you're doing? You guys know the famous Nutcracker that's performed in ballet every single year. Well, my twin here does the chocolate Nutcracker. And is it? Oh, I should have got that before I sat down. But did I have it right there? Anyway, the chocolate nut. Cracker. But you tell me, Stephen, tell us if you're still here. And so I know he's getting ready for that show. But let me continue. How much longer are you going to be on here? Says Gardenian Moon. Well, hello. How long? I'm here usually from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, and it just really depends. We've been going over for the last, I've been noticing the videos are getting longer and longer because I do like to engage and not just sit up here and talk about a book or do a book review. I'm not doing those type of books videos anymore where I'm editing and putting things together. I do just point and shoot if I want to record, and then the rest will be live. So it's usually, the plan is from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays, and then on Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And KT says, Brittany Wiggins says Campbell. Campbell soup? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, Campbell, is that one of the characters? Okay, where is that character from? You have to remind me. Is that her name? Was that her name? Let me know, Brittany, because, you know, I'm old. Dawn Zine. Hi, Dawn. And she says, sorry, I am late. You look beautiful tonight. Well, thank you. I am trying. You know, because I'm telling y'all, the gig is almost up. I'm getting old. Paul Bright, hey, everybody. Sorry. Don't be sorry, you guys. I'm just glad you guys are here. And we are talking about Bernice McFadden and her books, characters, and also Climax. That's what we're talking about right now. That was the question. And let me go back up to it. It's Characters, Conquest, and Climax, the work of Bernice L. McFadden. And you can actually do this subject matter on everything. I'm not ridiculously prepared for it, but I did do some reading on characters, which kind of led me into wanting to get back into that writer mode. And it also made me think about the books that I have read from Bernice L. McFadden. And Camilla's Roses, I know from what I've read, and I haven't finished it. Again, it's on my phone. And I just love that one too, because I mean, something about the place where she puts, it's always like the place where she goes in her books. For Camilla's Roses, you can kind of see the fashion. And what I'm trying to say is like, I'm trying to think too, like in her books, you know how some books will tell you about the color of somebody's hair, their eyes, their build, their this, their that. And sometimes hers are kind of subtle. Like, it's just, you don't get this bang of what this person looks like immediately. And I like that because I get to use my imagination. And then when another person connects with that particular character, then you kind of get more of a visual of what that person looks like. And as things happen in the way that they react, and when they start dialoguing in her books, then you get even more of how this person may look and where you know, what they may be wearing. But of course, all the placement, like nowhere is a place when they're riding and they're going to the homecoming, you know, the I don't want to give the ending away, but when they're getting to where they're getting to, the whole journey and the phone calls from her sister, the diners that they go and eat, it's just everything. You can kind of see it and feel it, and it kind of gradually builds what these people look like and who they are to the story and to one another, and it just keeps building and keeps building instead of just always like, there was one thing, and I'll just think of a book right now that I actually end up loving, but in the middle of the book, I wish she wouldn't have done it so much, and that was the Donna Tartt Secret History. I really liked the book. I really did. However, sometimes it was like she was just writing to be writing, and I kept going, okay, how many times are we going to point to what the weather is today? Like, okay, I get a good feel of it. I have an imagination here. Do not patronize me. And I kept getting that almost like with a Joyce Carol Oates book. And she does that sometimes where she, the one book that I did like and hate at the same time, it was just like overly written. Like, okay, I get it. Okay, you've explained what they look like. I've got a good sense of who these people are. I'm turning pages. You got me. I'm sold. Stop trying to sell me. That kind of a thing. And so with Miss McFadden's books, it's nice and it's subtle. You're there. and you're not just being spoon fed like you were saying, Brittany. So I really love that. And Don and Paul and Stevie, he said yes. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad you are working on that, Stevie, and I can't wait to see this one too. Hey, Musical Toddy. I just want to say thank you because when because you're the moderator on the chat room, you guys say hello to Musical Toddy, and the reason why I want to say thank you is because I noticed when I closed down live last Saturday, or no, this week, I think it was Thursday when we got on, there was all these crazy messages, and she had just like deflected them like she had a sword or something. Toddy came in there and was like, no sir, we are not having this. And I want to thank you because I didn't even get to see them. It just, whoever that person was that you blocked, it was obviously something that nobody should have seen, but it was so repetitive. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. And Camilla's Roses says KT was good. I had a hard time liking the main character though. I wanted to shake her. Yes, and that's one thing I like about books, when they kind of make you like, you know, curse out the main character. Like, I'm supposed to like you. What's going on here? And but you still keep going, either because you want to like them, or the story's being told so well that it doesn't matter if you don't like them. You're still getting this experience, and I'm going to take you there. And I remember that being on one of my 5 list of things that I really need from a book, and that was to take me somewhere. And I'm not talking about just, you know, get on a plane and go somewhere with the character. I'm talking about take me somewhere emotionally, where I'd have to think, where I have to react to the nonsense that you're making this character do. Like, this person, I don't like them. Why don't I like them? Is that a little bit of me in there, or is this person just annoying? And would I even deal with this type of person in real life? So, you know, you kind of get that, you're involved. And so when you get a character like that, you kind of get involved. My arms are cold, you guys, I'm sorry. But yeah, she said, I blocked that book. Okay, thanks, Toddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, she did. And hey, Kia Danae, she says, and you're welcome. Thank you so much again, because I was like, whoa, it worked. That was awesome. So tonight, Miss Kia Danae, have you read any Bernice McFadden? And if so, which book have you read, and which one is your favorite character? And do you like the climax of her books, that build up that she gives? And or is there a lot of build up in the books that you have read, and this is for anybody, for the books that you have read with Bernice McFadden? How is that climax? Like, is it subtle? I like a subtle climax on the books. And again, they don't always have to wrap up perfectly, because that gives me a sense that these people, this is something that maybe it's not so far-fetched, that it is something that we can connect with, and this could happen to me, it's happened to my friend, or, you know, so forth and so on. And so a subtle climax is what I appreciate about her books. And I also wanted to read, so while we are talking about that, the Book of Harlan, and I didn't have anything planned on reading from the Book of Harlan, but so if you guys have not read her and Book of Harlan, might be a spoiler. I'm just going to pick up any page, and the reason why, you guys, because this is something that I told her in that review that I did of hers, is, and truly those were the first thoughts off the top of my head, and it did kind of sound like a poem when somebody had mentioned that, and I didn't, you know, realize it, but this was very beautiful, and it was poetic, and I loved it. And one thing I did respect about it is, look how short the chapters are. Chapter 74 starts on this page, and the page is 234. It ends on page 235, and then I mean, it keeps you going. Chapter 75, 2 pages. That's it. So I don't want to go too deep into the book. I want to go to the beginning parts. That way, any little thing I read, hopefully it's not a spoiler. And because, again, this is recorded, I don't want to just be looking down at the chat. So if you guys are just joining in, Paul Bright, Columbus, anybody, hi Nicole, I know you're going to be watching afterwards. I would love to hear from you. What is, like, if you have read Bernice L. McFadden, please let me know in the comment section below, because you always comment, and I really thank you for your interaction. And Karen Run Right reads. When she doesn't watch, she always comments. So Karen, please let us know if you have read Miss Bernice L. McFadden, any of her books. What is your favorite character, and how do you like the build-up, the climax, and also the conquest? And explain conquest. Okay, while I'm reading this. You can write that down in the description. And I read over that, but I got stuck on the characters because, like I said, it made me just want to write and think about her writing style and how these characters are presented to you, and this very subtle, beautiful way, and sometimes very harsh things have happened in their life, or tragic things have happened in their life, and how she dealt with the characters. So I kind of got stuck on the characters for my homework, hey. So this is chapter 7. This is just, again, just reading from the Book of Harlan. Or do I want to read that one? Starts off with a question. You're what? Tennant boomed, carefully setting his Bible onto the sofa table. Pregnant, Emma repeated timidly, gripping Sam's hand. Pregnant? Tennant uttered stupidly, as if he'd never heard the word before. He turned confused eyes to Louisa. Pregnant? Yes, dear, Louisa said sadly. 3 months. Dumbfounded, Tennant dropped down heavily beside his wife. He winced at Sam. I know you don't know. Or I know, don't I? Yes, sir, I'm... Tennant wagged his finger at the young man. Aren't you Lucille Nelson's beau? Beau. Now you know we going back, right? No, sir, I'm not. What in the world are you doing in my living room? Tennant trailed off, his eyes bouncing from Emma's face down to their tightly linked hands. Oh, no. No, 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 he lamented, shaking his head. Daddy, we... Tennant raised his hand and turned to his wife. Well, we'll just have to send her away. Away, Louisa said. We'll send her up to Atlanta, or maybe down to Jacksonville. The words tumbled from his mouth. She'll have the baby and put it up for adoption. Adoption? Louisa reeled back in horror. Yes, and then she'll go off to Howard University and complete her education. I'm not putting my baby up for adoption, Emma screeched. Louisa shot her hard look. Now, Tennant, there's no need for all of that. Sam is willing to marry Emma. Marry? Tennant barked, jerking his thumb violently in Sam's direction. Him? Who is he? He's nobody, just a carpenter. Certainly not good enough for our Emma. Emma started to protest, but Sam quieted her with a gentle squeeze of her hand. Stepping toward Tennant, he said, Sir, I believe Jesus was a carpenter too. Was he not? All right, Jesus is a carpenter. Thank you, Miss Bernice McFadden. But anyway, that was just from the Book of Harlan, and that was more dialogue, and I love it because the words she used, beau, and how he was going to send a pregnant girl off somewhere so she can get this taken care of, or they were either going to get married, so you got these consequences, and it sounds very old school because nowadays people get pregnant. No, don't nobody care. Oh, so when you do, they don't ask if you are going to get married. They're not going to ask, well, you know, a lot of different questions that maybe were so important during those times. So the way that that conversation is carried on in that particular chapter, even if you have not read it, you know it's old school. You know it's not of the 2017. Yet, it's so real and so relatable. And then Homeboy comes in at the end of the chapter and relates Jesus as being a carpenter too. Like, I'm good enough for her, you know. And sometimes so-called Christians can be very judgmental and then have the truth smacked in their face, and they may have to think about some things, right? So, with all that said, I enjoyed that book. I will be rereading that book. I'm glad I own it. I'm glad she wrote that book. I am happy. And I really hope that you guys go and watch the well-read Black Girl. And I will link that because I was running out of time trying to link and get everything labeled since I'm now learning how to do that. So, Anywho, let me go and see what you guys are saying. This is, again, Booktube Live with our creative director for the evening is K2 Cute. Yes, KT. And if you go to our Twitter, K, put the list of what we're going to discuss for the next 3 weeks. And so this is just one of them. And this is so brilliant to talk about all 3. And we'll probably go over because it's 10:01 now. And I'm going to read some comments. And we'll talk about that. And let me see who we got here. Let me go back up. Back up, back up, back up. The nappy bookish babe. Hey, Niecy. Hey, beautiful Niecy. Hey, kid Danae. And I've said hi to Kid Danae. I'm always saying hi to Kid Danae because I know she's here. She's making sure that I come on time. I always think, you know, ooh, it's 9 o'clock. I need to be on because Kid Danae will let me know if everything is running right. So, Kid Danae says, yes, I've read the Book of Harlan and Loving Donovan. Campbell is my favorite because she reminds me of me with a certain nameless someone. Spill the beans, girl, spill the beans. We're going to have a spill the beans section on this Booktube Live one day. Spill the beans. Okay. Oh, my goodness. So Campbell was her name. That's right. And I am really bad with names sometimes, but I'll never forget that sugar. Not just because it was the title. It's just something about the way it made me feel. And, of course, Harlan. And so she's got these names. You notice that? You see where we're going with this, Miss Bernice McFadden? And Kay, so you're too smart because you're talking about characters, and that's the first thing on the subject is characters. And we're talking about Miss Bernice L. McFadden. You got Sugar. She names her character. That's the name of the book. Camilla's Roses. Camilla's Roses. We know about that a little bit. And the Book of Harlan. And what he was going to be called, or what his real name is, and how she changed the name is on that video for Well-Read Black Girl. How many times have I said that in this video? No, this video is not sponsored. I just think I'm very interested in their Instagram, and also because of Bernice L. McFadden, that's actually how I found out that they even had a Booktube channel or a YouTube channel. So anyway, so you got Sugar, Camilla's Roses, you have the Book of Harlan, you have Loving Donovan, and so The Warmest December doesn't have a name. Unless December is the name of the character. Oh, I was going to read this too because I read just the synopsis. Very tiny book too. And then Gathering of Waters. So we've got some of the names, and then just going to her, since we're talking about characters and we got the names right up front. Let's read from her list. And Finding Amos is another book with a name on it. So Miss Bernice McFadden, we know a little about how she likes to title her books. Oh, there's the Bernice L. McFadden collection, you guys. If you have not gone to her webpage, if you don't have any of her books or want the whole collection, she's got it on here. That is really cool. Okay, and we just talked about Gathering of Water. Glorious. Glorious is ultimately an audacious exploration into the nature of self-hatred, love, possession, ego, betrayal, and finally, redemption. Reading that straight from the page. And then Sugar, This Bitter Earth, which is about Sugar Lacey, Loving Donovan, Camilla's Roses, Nowhere is a Place, which I loved, The Warmest December, My Name is Butterfly. Yes. Okay. And then her other books under Miss Geneva, which are all titled with one word. And it's not names like Sugar. It's Groove, Heat, Fever, Seduction. Talking about a climax there, huh? Talking about it. Okay, I'm sorry. This is live and I can't edit that, so please forgive me. Ching ching. Apple juice. Apple cider. That's not the picture I wanted to paint. It's just not. All right. I'm so sorry that that sounds like that on the live. I'm going to go back to your little comments and stuff. And we're going to talk about something else. Maybe we're not going to talk about the climax. That's Kay's fault. I'm blaming her. Anyway, so, all right, you guys. It is after 10 o'clock. Kay says, Okay, oh, I wanted to go back up to Niecy. That's what I was doing. Hey, Niecy, the nappy bookish babe. Going back to Sugar, I love the buildup of that story, but I absolutely love the introduction of Sugar in chapter 1. Yes. And I need to reread Sugar because that was, I'm telling you, I've been here 9 years in Texas, and I had the book club. Wow. That's a long time. I need to reread Sugar because me and the book club love that. And I remember a young lady in the book club. Her name is Zulika. Hi, Zulika. I I don't have the Sugar book, and I gave my copy to Zulika. She read that book so quick, and she said, "That is good. She got any more?" I remember her saying that because she was like, "This is really good. Does she have any more?" And I think we read This Bitter Earth, and so I remember how we used to go out to dinner in our book club and at a restaurant, Red Lobster or whatever, and we would talk about the book. And I mean, we read a lot of good books. We read Asada, we read Eldridge Cleaver because they hadn't heard of him, and he was just like just somebody that I just wanted to listen to, and I love listening to his wife, and so anyway, you know, on the old Black Panther videos. So even if you don't agree with everything that Eldridge Cleaver said or was about, you still are so interested in the times and what these brothers and sisters had to say. And I totally enjoyed having that book club because we really read some good books and had some good discussions. And Sugar was one of them. And she says, Conquest, I was thinking of Harlan. Yes, the prologue in Sugar gripped me like no other prologue I've ever read before, says Musical Toddy. And Musical Toddy also says Harlan had many conquests. Yes. Okay. I don't, you know, I caught myself laughing one time on this live and I couldn't stop. Toddy, you ain't gonna take me there tonight. We're not gonna do it. Okay? Talking about conquest. So if no one has read the Book of Harlan, for those of us who have not, and if you've come and you stumble on this video, I just want to join you in there. Like Miss Bernice is very good at making the reader feel into the story. So I'm going to try to attempt to make you who are coming across this video be a part of the discussion. Since you cannot see it, I'm reading the chat room of Booktube Live. This is who we are. And I'm going to read the back blurb. It says, during World War II, two American jazz musicians are captured by the Nazis in Paris. The Book of Harlan opens with the courtship of Harlan's parents and his 1917 birth in Macon, Georgia. After his prominent minister grandfather dies, Harlan and his parents move to Harlem, where he eventually becomes a professional musician. When Harlan and his best friend, trumpeter Lizard Robbins, are invited to perform at a popular cabaret in the Parisian enclave of Montmartre, however you pronounce it, affectionately referred to as the Harlem of Paris by Black American musicians, Harlan jumps at the opportunity, convincing Lizard to join him. See, this is going to take me right back in the story, and I'll be like next week I'm talking about, okay, I'm on my second read. But anyway, after the City of Lights falls under Nazi occupation, Harlan and Lizard are thrown into Buchenwald or Buchenwald, the notorious concentration camp in Weimar, Germany. Now, when I lived in Germany, the W's were V's. So in Weimar, Germany, irreparably changing the course of Harlan's life based on an exhaustive research and told in McFadden's mesmeric prose. The Book of Harlan skillfully blends the stories of McFadden's familiar ancestors with those of real and imagined characters. So she's got some homework. She's, you know, went back into her own family and then weaved some fictional characters in here. And I totally love this book. And it was just beautiful. And this is the picture that's on her website as well. And so also by Bernice McFadden, we listed, actually we just did that. We talked about her books, and a lot of them that have the characters' names right on top of the actual book itself. I Am the Man I Suffered, I Was There, Walt Whitman. And this is part one, Macon, Georgia. No matter what you may have heard about Macon, Georgia, the majestic magnolias, gracious antebellum homes, the bright stars it produced that went on to dazzle the world. If you were Emma Robinson, bubbling with teenage angst and lucid dreaming about silver-winged sparrows, gliding over a perfumed ocean, well then, Macon felt less like the promised land and more like a noose. Mm, mm. Yep, I feel it coming on. A Picnic in the Park with the Bernice McFadden book. Yes, ma'am. All right, so I'm going to check in with you guys. I'm going to scroll down. Page 5, I mean, of Sugar. Oh, Tati says page 51. Okay, page 5 of Sugar. Paul Bright, the passage you just read made me want to pick up Harlan. Thank you. I really, really loved Harlan. I would recommend that highly. And Stevie says I ran around the room that Jesus was a carpenter. Yes. I love that. Just right in your face. Let's just, don't judge me. We got a little pregnancy situation. You don't think I'm good enough, but hey, if I'm not good enough and I'm a carpenter, who's the man you praising to? What did Jesus do? I love to hear you read like when you used to read me your poetry. And yes, I remember Apple Cider Farm. Yes. Thank you, Stevie. I miss writing poetry, but the book that I'm working on, I just really need to tie that up and I need to take a year off. Cheers with the apple cider. I totally love it. It was so good. Okay, and then Musical Toddy is laughing, and so is Kay. What y'all laughing at? What y'all laughing at? Let me see. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm getting nosy in the chat room. I'm nosy. So let me just take a look at it. I also love the way she writes mothers' relationships with their children. Yes. And that makes me think again of, and that's Kay, that makes me think about that ride in the car and the story that she was telling her daughter. And just that whole journey was just awesome. And just the dialogue of the mother and how she was kind of new to this kind of a, you have the daughter and her wanting to write this story and wanting to hear things, and yet you could tell something was going on in her daughter's life, and she was trying to get in there, like, just be real with me kind of a thing. And you can actually picture that in your own life and maybe holding back a little bit from your mother, but also, enjoying those times that you're with her, and your mother's telling you how things were when she grew up, or the family story and this, that, and the other. And so their dialogue was so real and true. Like, I remember we used to ask our mother about Arkansas all the time because my mother is a Whitmore, and she used to always tell us. And I remember just in one of my childhood memories of, because I never knew my mother's mother, like my grandmother or her father. I just remember when I was young, my mother and my oldest sister Sherry and my cousin, who was raised as my sister, she was my mother's brother's only daughter at the time, Cassandra. Stevie, I know you remember Cassandra. Beautiful, beautiful first cousin of mine that, when I grew up, I thought she was my sister because she lived with us. And so my mother, Cassandra, and my sister Sherry all went to Arkansas because my mother's dad had passed away. And my mother's mother passed away at 45. And Cassandra, who my mother raised, passed away at 35. So the women in my family don't live too long. So I remember when they came back and they were telling us these stories because, my mother's sister went, Aunt Jessie, and she's passed away as well, and so is my mom. So I remember them coming back and telling us, they were talking about how Mama and Aunt Jessie was fighting in the car, this little sister sibling thing. And I'm thinking of me and my sister, we used to always fight. Sabrina used to kick my butt all the time, and then I grew up to be a really good fighter. So anyway, but I remember wanting to learn about Arkansas. And if I you know, I thought about things like that when I watched the video of Bernice McFadden talking about her family. And I'm thinking, man, I wish I could be that little girl just for a little bit, listening to my sister Sherry and my sister Cassandra talking about that trip to Arkansas. Now, forward a few more years, you know, when I became a teenager, Cassandra, um, still with that Kansas or no Arkansas feel, you know, and wanting to meet our other side of our family, she took me to Kansas City, Missouri to meet our family that was there. And I am telling you, I have never ever seen that many like beautiful people in my life. And I'm like, who are these people? Like, she's like, this is so and so, and this is so and so. And we got to meet. And one of them, I remember his name is Coy Edwards. And they were in Kansas City, Missouri. And we went downstairs because he had his bedroom was in the basement. And he had all this art on the walls. All this art that he created on the walls. Familiar? So I'm thinking, I need that. I need to know these people. And then all these years later, I don't know. And I know me and Stevie went to school with a young lady. I say young, I was in school too at the same time. But I only knew one other Whitmore that whole time I was growing up. And her name was Stephanie Whitmore. And so I remember going home and telling my mom about this girl at school. She's very bright skinned. She has these freckles. And my mother has freckles. She has a lot of freckles. And she has red hair. And I told my mom, I said, there's a girl at our school, and her name is Stephanie Whitmore. Is she our cousin? Like, and my mom said, just ask her where she's from or whatever. And I remember I didn't know Stephanie, so I didn't really ask her anything. But she was like, well, if you ask her, and her family's from Arkansas, it's a pretty good chance because all the Arkansas Whitmores are family. So I was like, wow. So yeah, that's what the Book of Harlan makes you do. That's what Roots makes you do. That's what Queen makes you do. That's what Somerset Homecoming makes you do. So African American writers always going home or trying to connect to the families. That always brings so it makes a connection to, or makes us want to connect, shall I say, to the family that we do not know, the family that we're missing out on, the family that or displaced in so many different ways. And we all know the backstory, but do we know our own story and how it actually is intimately affecting our lives? And to me, that's why I was like, when I watched Bernice McFadden's channel on YouTube, and if you watch my video and I said how this book was so good, the book made the writer probably pour a glass of wine. I said that because I remember seeing her video, and that's exactly what she did. She poured herself a glass of wine and toasted herself after she finished the Book of Harlan. So, congrats to her. Ching ching. Apple cider. Anyway. And I think also, too, if you're not following Miss Bernice McFadden on Instagram, this is something that I always love to do, and that's why I like Essence section of the books. It always has like the stars and what they're reading and what their favorite books are. And so on Instagram, if you're following Miss Bernice McFadden, she's listing more of what the books that she's reading. I know she's reading, I think she read Gabrielle Union's book, We're Gonna Need More Wine. I love Gabrielle Union. Okay, so anyway, I want to read that book too. But I was also looking at another book that she read, and I remember going to it on Goodreads. And I'm not going to do all that now because it's just going to take up too much time. But I went to Goodreads to find the book. I'm not sure if I've already clicked on wanting to read it. But again, follow Miss Bernice McFadden. Go to her website. Purchase her books. Get your sister circles together and read her books if you have not already. For those of us who are here in the chat room have read something from her, and I plan on reading all of her and definitely getting all the books that I am missing out on so I can have on my shelf for Booktube next year, which is 2018, the blackout in books. All African American writers, 2 women a month. I have to read 2 women a month. It's very important for me to read 2 African American writers that are women next month, and then a nonfiction and an indie book. So if I read 4 books every month, 2 of them will be women, an indie book again, and a nonfiction. Did I just repeat myself? Yes, I did. But the blackout rules are also on the channel, but those are simply the rules. And they're for myself. If you want to join it, if you do it for a month or a week, or if you just do one African American for all of next year, that's 12 African American books or writers that maybe you didn't know about. So choose an indie author. If you've never read a Bernice McFadden, choose her. Because once you choose one of her books, you're going to probably want to delve in and get the rest of the catalog. So that is all I actually have to say. Thank you, Kate, KT, who's Karen. And I have a friend named Karen. I mean, there's so many Karens around. And I am very appreciative. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave us something to focus on, and not just me talking about the topics that I want to discuss. So I appreciate that. And for all of you who are going to join in the Booktube discussions next week, we are going to be talking about, and I'm going to read it right now so that you can actually be aware of it if you are not already following KT on her Twitter. Characters, Conquest, and Climax is the works of Bernice L. McFadden. Tonight we discussed, and we could probably continue on with that. Her second one, and this will be next Saturday, Hear Him Holler, Black male authors who write historical fiction. Oh, that's going to be so good! Because I'm going to learn about some things. And historical fiction? Kay, where'd you get it? I'm telling you, this is awesome. This is so dope. Hear Him Holler. Holler. That's the title that she came up with. Hear Him Holler. How dope is that? If you are not subscribed to her channel, if y'all run and tell a friend about what's going on at Booktube Live and with Booktube Black, as Dee said, hashtag Booktube Black, then find out, get us what we need, and that is just you in the seats watching or on the go. Do what you got to do to watch and tell a friend and join in the conversation, because we are not just sitting up here making these videos just so we can see ourselves flip fake hair and talk about eyebrows and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not at all. What I'm saying is tell somebody, because what I notice is a lot of us on this Booktube Live have less than 1,000 subscribers. And how long have we been doing these things and talking about these channels? You know, and I know that we have watched other channels, and you can, people say, oh, what's your content? Oh, but we don't want to read those type of books and whatever. I don't, there's a whole bunch of whatever, naysayers, what have you, to why we may be under 1,000 subscribers. Only one that doesn't have that issue is Dee from Brow Reading, but she has an amazing blog too. So it's not that we're just sitting around here going, oh, I want 10,000, I want 5,000, or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that when I go on any type of social media and people are naysayers about this, that, and the other, and people aren't doing this, that, and the other, I'm like, yes, we are. You're just not watching. We're watching you, but you're not watching us. Okay? So that's all I got to say about that. And now, and I'm looking all yellow and shiny. I mean, not yellow like in bright yellow, like in goldish. Like, what is that color? I don't know. I did change the bulb because the other one, like I said, was way too bright. So, Kia Danae, next time you're going to have to tell me, like, Denise, could you go powder your face? Powder your nose. Because something ain't right. Anyway. Dumpling and Sherry. Okay, ooh, let me go back up. You guys, it's 10:25. If Bernice McFadden happens to watch this video like she does when she watches our videos, thank you so much, Queen Neza, for writing such beautiful books. And I really enjoy talking about your books. I really enjoy talking about you and other Booktube friends of ours here. We love discussing your books and sharing what we liked about them and growing. So thank you so much to Alexis. Thank you, Kia Danae, Paul Bright. Thank you, Stephen Massey. Thank you, Musical Toddy, for blocking them haters. Thank you. Thank you, Dawn. And I just went to New York calling Dawn Dawn. One moment. So let me go back up a little bit. So I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I blocked that book too. Okay, I read that. Okay, let me scroll down. The passage you just read made me want to pick it up. Thanks, Paul Bright, Stevie, and Jesus. I love to hear you read. Thank you so much. I also love the way oh yes, we talked about the mothers in the relationship, dumpling and sharing. Yes, and her what was the daughter's name that kept interrupting and calling? Oh my gosh, she was getting on my nerves. But it was so good that she was doing that. I loved it. Everyone tweet your topic ideas to Denise. Thank you. But so we good for the next 3 weeks, or actually 2 more weeks now, and then we'll just keep on moving. It's not like we're going to stop. So I appreciate it. So if you can tweet it, that was the easiest way for me to see it. So if you're sending me messages, I haven't checked on messages, and actually I was supposed to be reading my Laboratoire tonight, and I got a chance to listen to Swing Time, which I think Swing Time has moved over some books because I really wanted to listen to let me see how many are in here. It goes up to 11 CDs, and I'm already on 4, and I really like this. And the lady who's narrating this, I would definitely suggest this as a narrated book if you guys are, an audio book. If you haven't already read this, it's really good audio. The British accent, and she swings in and out of this British and American accent very well, and it's very, very nice. Not very, very nice. I don't want to sound like the president. And if you guys want to talk about like a current event, like I truly was reading a lot of stuff online and about the situation and where things are with how people are treating each other, with those who are in charge, or whatever you want to call what he's doing to this office here in the United States of America. And totally, yeah, it makes the whole office of President of the United States look real funky. Oh, and I was just reading on Twitter how President Obama and other presidents are here in the state of Texas. Citizenship. It's a beautiful thing when you do it right. So, yeah, I was just reading about that. So if you want to talk about any you heard me say it. What was it? Any topics that you want to discuss that's going on in our world today? It could be entertainment. It could be politics. It could be anything. Let's just chat about it. We'll do maybe like a 5-minute segment where we just rant about that particular topic. And if there's a book about it, which usually is a book about it, or a New York Times article or Essence article, or whatever article you got it from, if you got it from Troy Johnson's AALBC.com, please visit the site. We are going to be all over that site next year. And going to the and patronizing, like he said, other websites that are and for African Americans, but are for everybody. If you sell lotion and you're an African American female and you have a website and you're white or you're Mexican or whatever and you want some lotion, buy it from them. We are constantly spending our dollars everywhere. And I was just like, literally, and I wish I would get up, but I don't feel like getting up. But I'll bring them in the next time. The stuff that I washed my face with, because I don't know, I was breaking out with blemishes. But I have this the scrub. It's called chocolate mint scrub something, and I'll link it. I'll actually that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about that next Saturday, after we talk about the topic that Kay has so very well crafted for us. Okay, we'll talk about that. And so it made me think about that tonight before I got in the shower. I scrubbed my face with this stuff that I got when I was doing an art show, and there was a black-owned business, and I bought her facial scrub. I had another facial scrub from another black-owned female business, and the lotion that I used was another black-owned female business. I've got some Bath and Body, I've got some Walmart stuff, I've got all kinds of stuff. But yes, there are several different items that were sitting right there on my bathroom counter. I'm thinking, that's I love doing that. And I would talk about it in February, but you don't have to wait until February. And again, next year, that is going to be a topic that I'll talk about because, like, I went to the AALBC and I'm losing my voice because I'm talking too much. So there was this website that had these beautiful coffee mugs. We're talking about coffee mugs. And so next year I will have, and this is what I want. So if you guys have any suggestions, and leave the links for me in the comment section below, or because remember the chat line is going to go away and I won't be able to see it. So coffee mugs by African American websites. If you have a suggestion, let me know. I found one and I can't wait to get it and show you guys. So I'll be getting 12, 10, 12 next year, one for each month. Right? Right? Because you know I love my coffee and I'm gonna need something. So I'm following Troy's suggestion. If you guys don't know who TonyDaily.com is, or Tony Daily is, she has a website, TonyDaily.com. It's for wigs and all kind of stuff. But she does support a sister on her channel on YouTube. And please look it up. She always gives a wonderful list. I know Aisha from Skinny Girl Fat Hair is always doing suggestions for Black-owned businesses. And so I'm only mentioning that to let you guys know this is something we always can do, because I'm always going to other, shops and website portals and what have you, and shopping there and here. But next year I'll be doing that almost exclusively. Okay, so that's what we'll talk about. And thank you again, you guys, for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks, Paul Bright. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks, Toddy. Thanks, Brittany. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Kay. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Nisi. Thanks, Stephen Massey. Thank you, guys. And I know I've said goodbye several times, but I really mean it this time. And I was just going to read something. Current events made the Book of Harlan so much heavier. Yes. And Dawn Z says, I have to do some reading. Thank you. Love it. And Paul Bright says, Trump is a disgrace. You made me say that name. But yeah, I agree in that sentence. Yes, I do. Yeah, it's like embarrassing. Yeah. But it's also, I'm not going to say a good thing. What I'm saying, it's a mirror reflection of what we've already known, okay, that's been going on. And so the representation is just up front now. You got a good voice for what's going on right there. And but it's sad. It's very sad. So anyway, Don Zing says, since I came in late, are we reading something for next week? What? Yeah, I'm sorry, hon. Let me give you the topic again. So if you guys didn't get it, let me go back. I'm on my Twitter. Okay, so tonight was Characters, Conquest, and Climax, the work of Miss Bernice L. McFadden. And next week we're going to talk about Hear Him Holler. Black male authors who write historical fiction. I don't know who they are, all of them, but we're going to find out. So if I'm going to be looking this up, I invite you to do the same and we'll discuss it. So when you find out any black males who write historical fiction, I'm not asking you to just read up on it real quick or what have you. You can just go and search and pull out some off your library shelves. You can go to Goodreads, get some names, maybe write those down. You can pick up one book and maybe read it in a week. You can do whatever you need to do to be able to add to the discussion for next Saturday. So I'm going to do that, and I just think that's great. I love it. I love the subject, and I love the title. Hear Him Holler. It's for next Saturday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the third week is Island Inspiration and Insight. Books by Caribbean authors. Thank you to our creative director, KT is too cute. That is what she is tonight. Thank you, Toddy, for blocking them haters. She's the moderator. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kia Danae, for always opening up the show and making sure that you can hear me, you can see me, and you can do whatever. And thank you guys for being here and playing very happy, supportive roles in Booktube Live. This is Denise D. Cooper. Thank you, Stephen Massey, for being creative. I grew up around a bunch of creative, beautiful people. My brother, the musician, my Stephen, the dancer, my mother, the writer and artist. Even if we were the only ones to know that she wrote poetry and did art, we are created to create. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys real soon, like tomorrow. So let me wrap this up. I need to go read and get this makeup off my face and stuff. All right, you guys, bye. And if you have anything that you want to discuss tomorrow, tomorrow's open. All right, bye. It's going to ask me, do you really want to stop streaming? Yeah, I got stuff to do. Bye, you guys. Oh, I don't have any music. I don't have anything to go out on. So how about we play Miss Bernice McFadden? Um, um, um. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going to do Bernice McFadden. And remember to look in the description box. And I already have Kay and I already have Bernice McFadden. So, yeah. And don't forget to read or listen to Well Read Black Girl. And I'm looking at Miss Bernice McFadden right now. On what channel? I'll link this one too. She's talking about Glorious again. And she's reading from it.
If Jack Johnson had let James Jeffries beat him on July 4th, 19 for all,
and the audio
was 10 times better than a nigger, then black folk wouldn't have been walking around with their backs straight
it's not that
and
good.
chests puffed out, smiling like Cheshire cats, upsetting good, God-fearing white folk who didn't mind seeing their Negroes happy, but didn't like seeing them proud. If Jack Johnson had given